Cato and I got to talking. It'd be fun just to predict who's going to be the leading X, fill in the blank here for a stat, in each conference. Today I want to go through who's going to be the leading passers in each of the Power 4 conferences across college football. Let's start in the SEC. No surprise here. I'm going with LSU's Garrett Nussmeier, and I could name all the stats for you. Over 4,000 yards last year. That's great. He's back for another year. I think, based on how he's going to be competitive across the rest of the board in the SEC with other college footballs, with other college football quarterbacks in the SEC. I think LSU is going to have a real cut it loose feel to them offensively from the jump because they trust their dude. There's going to be some other good quarterbacks, I think, as well in the conference. At what point does the coaching staff take the training wheels off those guys? Because you'd have to think for an Arch Manning or a Gunnar Stockton or an Austin Simmons, good quarterbacks could lead the conference in passing. Are they going to just totally let them run right away? I don't know. But I do think that's going to be the case for LSU. Second year in the system for Joe Sloan. Should have a better running game, which you would hope would make for more throws downfield opening up when those safeties creep up. And then also the fact that, according to Garrett Nussmeier, they're going to have nobody that runs over a 4-4 in that receiver room. If he's lying, it's an impressive lie, and if it's true, then that's even more impressive. In the Big Ten, I've said this before, I think Ohio State's Julian Sain is going to win that job in Columbus. I think he leads the Big Ten in passing. Couple of things that play into this for me. One is trend. Correlation is not causation, but we should pay attention to correlation. Ohio State has had a quarterback lead the Big Ten in passing every single year since 2017, except for one when Kyle McCord was playing quarterback. They finished second in that category, and then Kyle McCord led all of college football the following year. The other part of this would be stupid to not talk about the weapons. Jeremiah Smith's the best player in college football. I think he's going to win the Heisman. And then you could literally just spend an entire afternoon talking about the rest of the guys in that receiver room. I'll just mention Tate, Mylan Graham, Ennis. You hear what I'm saying. Jelani Thurman at tight end. They're good at tight end as well with the Purdue transfer. They're in a really good spot there. Then maybe as important, if not more important than all of that, the personality of the offense is going to be catered to, I think, throwing the football around. Yes, the strength of the roster, I think, is the receiver position. But you have a receiver coach now, and Brian Hartline calling the show. You ever play Madden against a guy who played receiver in his day or played quarterback in his day or whatever? What do? They throw the freaking football. That's going to be Ohio State. Why? Because Brian Hartline, he played receiver. He comes from the receiver position. That's what he knows. Every single time you have a receiver coach in the staff meeting, he's saying, Coach, we're open. Throw the ball. Well, now Brian Hartline says, Coach, we're throwing the ball because our guys are open because I got the sticks. So with that being said, I think Julian Sain will do big numbers. I think that the receiving core will do big numbers, and I think he will lead the Big Ten in passing in 2025. Now, in the ACC, I'll be real. I wanted to go Miller Moss here. I did. I love Louisville. I love Jeff Brom. I love the trend there. They've had a quarterback go for over 3,000 yards every year, so I'll let that be. But my official pick here is Carson Beck at Miami. There's a great song by Jason Mraz. It goes, I won't give up on us. That's how I feel about Carson Beck. I won't give up on us, man. I won't. You and me. I understand everyone's talking bad about you at Georgia. Everyone's talking about the whole deal on social media, which I quite frankly would maybe have another discussion about and kind of reining that in, but neither here nor there. They're going to be aggressive offensively. Right, say what you want about Carson Beck and how he operates on social media. They're going to throw the football downfield. That much I know is true. Okay, so when you talk about who the offensive coordinator is, similar to our conversation around Brian Hartline and what he's doing at Ohio State, Shannon Dawson, man, he comes from that Mike Leach tree, that Hal Mummy tree, a little air raid action. It's not totally air raid, but it's more like diet air raid, if you will. Miami last year was top 10 in every category when it came to being aggressive downfield. Now, you got to break in the receivers properly, and we've mentioned that before on this show. But I do think that they're going to be, again, aggressive. I think that'll be their identity of their offense. Also, it should be noted, if you were to take Carson Beck's stats from a year ago at Georgia and plug him into the ACC, he would be the second leading returning passer in the conference behind Cade Klubnik. I don't think Cade Klubnik dealt with 37, 36 drops. So just saying, Carson Beck got the arm talent, has the resume. I think he will lead the ACC in passing, and excited to watch him do that out there in 305. Now, the Big 12, taking Josh Hoover, man, from TCU. He finished second last year in the Big 12 in passing behind Shedeur Sanders. but he was 500 yards ahead of who the third place guy was. Same thing with TCU. They're going to let it rip, dude. Top 25 when it came to yards per pass last year. You lose some pieces on the perimeter, totally true. But I think that him coming back to TCU, too, came under the pretense of, like, no, we're still going to freaking throw the football around the yard, Sonny Dyke style. And is a big reason why I have TCU playing for the conference title when it's all said and done, because I think Josh Hoover is a freaking baller. All right? So, with that being said, to recap it here, Garrett Nussmeier is going to lead the SEC in passing. Julian Sain will lead the Big Ten. Carson Beck will lead the ACC. And Josh Hoover allegedly got some calls from other conferences to leave TCU. He said, nope, I'm coming back. He's going to lead the Big 12 in passing out there in Fort Worth.